2 drag strips and 2 U-turns make up one of racing's oldest tracks. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series returns to Martinsville Speedway for the second time in 2016 and for the first race in the round of 6 in the chase for the championship. Last Saturday on a chase elimination day from Talladega, Alabama native Grant Enfinger stole the spotlight, earning his first career win. Both John Hunter Nemechek and Daniel Hemrick were contending for a spot to advance in the chase, but it wasn't to be.
Oh, John Hunter Nemechek, in fact, has a problem right now. John Hunter Nemechek, one of our chase contenders, our championship contenders. Looks like his day coming to an end.
Oh, there it goes.
The big one at Talladega.
It's Hemrick also involved in the bottom in the 19 truck.
Daniel Hemrick could not afford any trouble today. He was on the outside of that chase cutoff line.
6 drivers remain in contention for the championship. The pursuit continues today with 200 laps from Martinsville Speedway. It's time to get you set up. 18-year-old William Byron leads the Truck Series in wins with 6 and finished 3rd in his lone start at Martinsville back in the spring. Christopher Bell has top 10 finishes in 11 of his last 12 races and will be making just his 2nd start at Martinsville this afternoon. 36-year-old Timothy Peters has yet to win this season, but in 21 starts at Martinsville, Peters has 1 win and 7 top 5s. Welcome into the setup studio, everybody. I'm John Roberts alongside of 2-time series champion Todd Bodine. NASCAR racing since 1949. Todd, no better place to start this second round of the chase than Martinsville.
I love it. The history of Martinsville is good, hard-nosed racing, and that's exactly what the Truck Series is all about.
Yep, and that's what we're going to see this afternoon. Here's a look at the chase standings following Talladega. All 6 drivers start the round of 6 with the points reset to 3,000. So basically, doesn't matter what you've done till now, it's an even playing field. Qualifying was held this morning from Martinsville Speedway. 3rd fastest, Cole Custer. His average start at Martinsville, Todd, is 5.6.
Yeah, he's always started well at Martinsville, but he only has 1 top 10 finish, and that came in this race last year.
2nd fastest on the chart, Daniel Suarez. That's his 3rd front row start this season.
Yeah, it's his best start at Martinsville, and it's his 4th race, so he's still trying to get his first win in the Truck Series.
But the fastest, your pole sitter, is Chase Elliott. He swept all 3 rounds of qualifying.
2nd career pole, and his first was at Bristol, which was another short track. He finished 5th there, and today he's just trying to get some good experience to help himself for tomorrow's Cup race.
So let's take a look now at who will start up front at Martinsville. There's Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez on the front row, but there are your chasers, Sauter, Bell, and William Byron.
Yeah, we got one chaser here, Matt Crafton starting 11th, but Ben Kennedy starting 18th, and a surprise of qualifying, Timothy Peters starting 19th.
It is time now for the grid report, and for that, we go live to the racetrack and to Caitlin Vincey.
Well, John, we were just taking a look at those qualifying results. A little bit of a curveball thrown at you in qualifying, some oil on the racetrack, but you recovered, qualified 7th. But how are you feeling about your truck in race trim, William?
I feel pretty good about it. I think we had a really strong practice yesterday. Obviously, the oil on the racetrack was just something we have to deal with, but some guys were in the same boat as us. So fortunately, we qualified inside the top 12 on the inside row. So that's key here at Martinsville on the initial start. So hopefully we can have a good start, get up to 3rd or 4th, and try and get the lead early, and hopefully have a good day with our Liberty University Tundra.
And this is the start of a new round. Everything's reset, kind of a clean slate. How much are you looking forward to kind of the intensity racking back up? Because the last 2 races were a little more low-key for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're just excited about the next 3 racetracks. These are some good racetracks for us. We finished 3rd here in the springtime, so a lot's changed. The speeds are a lot tighter within the top 10, 15 trucks, so it's going to make for a great race. And hopefully we have the handle on our truck and get that grandfather clock.
Good luck to you. It's been an impressive year for the rookie William Byron. 6 wins, looking for win 7 today. Hermie?
Well, Caitlin, Christopher Bell, only a 2nd start at this racetrack. How much more prepared do you feel like you are to compete today, having a shot to move forward for a championship, given what you did here in the spring?
I feel like we have an awesome JBL Tundra underneath us today, and I feel like myself as a driver has matured a lot since I came here last time, and it's a really technical place here. And I feel like I've got a little bit better handle on it, and we've got a really fast Tundra too. So starting 6th on the outside, but got my teammates starting, I think, 7th right behind me. So maybe we can do a little team strategy here, get down, and just survive, man. If we survive, we'll have a good day.
The tight quarters on the racetrack, also on pit road. How much of a benefit is it to have an experienced crew chief like Jerry Baxter in your corner?
Oh, it's definitely huge because Jerry's had a lot of success here at Martinsville. He's won a couple with Bubba Wallace, and so I know he's really good here. So, like I said, we got a fast JBL Tundra today, and looking forward to see how it plays out.
Christopher Bell won earlier this year at Gateway. He starts 6th today, John.
Hermie, thank you very much. Chase Elliott will make his first Truck Series start since 2013, driving the number 71 truck for owner Carlos Contreras. In 9 career truck starts, Elliott has 1 win, and that was at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in 2013. 2-time champion Matt Crafton has 2 career victories at Martinsville, including winning this race last year. When the setup continues, our own 2-time champion Todd Bodine will give us his 3 keys to racing at the Paperclip.
You're watching The Setup on Fox Sports 1.
The remaining 6 drivers in the Truck Series chase for the championship will have to contend with Martinsville Speedway's small size, tight corners, and unique shape. That is why Martinsville offers some of the most exciting and close-quarter racing in the sport. Big news out of NASCAR earlier this week regarding drivers participating in other series starting in 2017. NASCAR will now limit the number of times a Cup driver with 5 years of experience or more can race in the Xfinity races to 10 per season and Truck Series to 7 per season. NASCAR stipulated that those drivers with 5 or more years of Cup experience will not be allowed to run in the final 8 races in either series, nor can they race in the Dash for Cash races. And one final rule: no driver earning Cup points in the 2017 season can race in the championship race at Homestead in either Xfinity or trucks. So, Todd, this is a big announcement. A lot of people have been talking about this. What's your take?
Well, I think it's something that really did need to be addressed when you have somebody with Kyle Busch's experience and speed racing almost all the races. It needs to be addressed, but I don't know that it's really going to change a lot, because if you look at it from Joe Gibbs' racing perspective, you know, Kyle can run 10 races, so that's all he's going to run. Well, then we just put Denny Hamlin in for 8 or 10 races, and Matt Kenseth runs 8 or 10 races. So that car and that sponsor is going to still have a Cup driver for basically the whole schedule, what they've signed up for. And actually, for a sponsor, that might be a benefit to have 3 different drivers with Cup stature in their car. So I don't really know that it changed a lot.
Yeah, and true, but also one of the key things about this rule is it only impacts drivers with 5 or more years of Cup experience.
Yeah, guys like Austin Dillon and Eric Jones, and, you know, they still get to have the experience and gain experience. It's running an Xfinity series, so it's a good deal.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been asking about this. They've been talking about this for a long time, so now you finally have your rule in place. Let's go back to the track now and check in with Hermie Sadler.
Well, John, Timothy Peters got his first career victory back in 2009. I know you love this racetrack. Qualified 19th today. You got some work to do. What's the strategy and the plan to get to the front?
Patiently aggressive. I know I got the best guys on pit road, and hopefully we can gain some spots when we come down. You know, we're just going to have to make some holes when we can, but do that towards the back end of the race. You know, right now we just need to make sure that I don't do anything and make any mistakes where we're behind the wall fixing our Red Horse Tundra. So we've lacked a little bit of speed since we unloaded yesterday, but Shane Huffman and all the guys have really worked hard through both hours yesterday that we had, and plus the 2 rounds that we got to go through this morning in qualifying. So I know it's not from a lack of effort. It's just sometimes it's your day and sometimes you're not, and we're trying to make it to where it's our day today.
As Timothy Peters, he's one of 6 that still has a shot to win a championship. Caitlin?
Well, Hermie, another driver with wins at Martinsville Speedway. Matt Crafton, 2 wins here. When you look at this next round, you've had success at all these 3 tracks coming up, but where does this one rack up for you?
I'm looking forward to all 4 of them, to be totally honest. They're 4 great racetracks that we're going to. We have not won at Phoenix, but we've won at 3 of the 4 that we have been to, and we ran really well at Phoenix and don't have a win there, so I have a lot of confidence going into the rest of them.
All right, well, best of luck to you. That's Matt Crafton starting 11th for today's race. John?
It's time now for Todd's 3 keys. And Todd, at Martinsville, it's as important to slow down as it is to go fast.
Absolutely. You can't go to Martinsville and not talk about saving your brakes and how important the brakes are. Overheat those brakes, it limits you from doing exactly what Tyler Reddick's doing, out-braking John West, getting in the corner and making a pass. So you've got to save the brakes, and especially in the beginning for the end.
Now, at Martinsville also, you're always going to have lap traffic.
Martinsville, the trucks get spread out. They're all over the racetrack. It's only a half mile. You have to use the lap traffic to your advantage. Last year, Joey Logano got caught up under this lap truck, didn't get a good run off the corner. Matt Crafton beat him to the throttle and used those brakes to outbrake him, getting in the corner, make the pass.
Now, your 3rd key, we all should try this all the time, but we don't necessarily do it.
This is tough for all us race car drivers. Be smart. We're not always smart. In Martinsville, you get caught up in the lap traffic, like we said, and the 63, the 23 was outside, got slowed down. The 63 just wasn't smart enough to give him some space and ended up taking himself out as well as the 23. So you have to be careful. You have to look ahead. You have to be smart at Martinsville.
And there's just not enough room to race there, and tempers will fly, and sheet metal will get bent. Todd, thanks a lot. You know, there's so many traditions at Martinsville. This is one. The train moves by slowly, but today the train of trucks is going to move by very quickly. Coming up next on the setup, Todd Bodine looks into his crystal ball and shares which 4 drivers he thinks will advance to the final round for a chance to win the championship at Homestead.
The road to the Truck Series Championship continues here, only on Fox Sports 1.
Welcome back to the setup, everyone. Today's race is 200 laps and 105.2 miles from the half-mile track that will have lights in place for the 2017 season and will coincide with Martinsville's 70th anniversary. Now, here's a look at the 3 tracks that the Truck Series drivers will face in this round of 6. First of all, Martinsville, the half-mile track and all the beating and banging that goes with it. Texas, it's one of those 1.5-mile tracks with its own character, high speed, and high banks. Then it's back to Phoenix, a completely unique 1-mile racetrack.
The thing I like about this chase, JR, is 3 totally different racetracks.
So those are the racetracks that are going to decide this thing. So, Todd, with that in mind, we're going to put you on the spot. Who are your championship 4 drivers, and who's your favorite?
Well, obviously, the favorite has to be William Byron. What this kid has done this year is phenomenal. He's a cool cucumber. Nothing's getting him upset. He's got to be the favorite going to Homestead.
Okay, who's the 2 seed?
Well, the 2nd seed, I'm going to give it to Timothy Peters. I think his experience will lend itself to this round. And the second half of the season, they've been really fast. Even though he doesn't have a win, I think the team's coming together. Timothy's doing a great job, and they've been fast. I think they're going to get to Homestead.
Okay, you got some veterans to choose from. Who's your next driver?
Well, the next guy, Matt Crafton, obviously. 2 championships, 2 wins this year. The reason he's my 3rd seed and not the 2nd seed is their performance the second half of the year hasn't been as good as they expected. They should have been a little faster, but they're still doing the right things to move on. And I think with his experience, he's going to get to the Homestead round.
Okay, one more guy makes your Final 4.
One more guy, I think, is Johnny Sauter. Kind of along the same lines as Crafton. His experience is going to pay dividends in this round. All 3 of these racetracks have been good to Johnny. He runs well. They're all good tracks. You know, and his crew chief, he's got a great relationship with Joey Shearer, and that means a lot when you get into these pressure situations. So I think he's going to move to Homestead.
Okay, you had no Bell, no Kennedy. Why?
Well, I think Ben, even though he's done really well this year, he does have a win. He's just hasn't been the performance the second half. They've just been a little up and down. I think he just needs more experience in this situation. I just don't think he's quite good enough to get there yet.
Okay, so whoever does make the Final 4, it's certainly a very prestigious group because this is the first ever Truck Series chase. Now, we will wrap things up here on the setup as we're closing in on and going racing soon from Martinsville Speedway. Welcome back to the setup. NASCAR Next member Harrison Burton will make his first career NASCAR Camping World Truck Series start in the number 18 truck today. Let's send it back to Caitlin.
Thank you, John. Well, Ben Kennedy qualified 18th for today's race. What challenges does that present to you and kind of affect your strategy in terms of getting towards the front?
Yeah, a lot. You know, strategy is going to be a big part of it, staying out of trouble and hopefully getting a lot of restarts on the inside line at the end of the race. So we're going to keep working on our Jacob Company's Chevrolet today. I think we'll be okay in the long run. You know, I think a lot of these guys will kind of fall back. So I've said that before, but I'm hoping it'll work out today because we really need it. Really need to make it to Homestead. I think we make it there, we'll be all right.
Thanks for your time and best of luck to you. Ben Kennedy won at Bristol. Another short track, looking for another one today. Hermie?
Caitlin, got Johnny Sauter. You qualified 5th, and I would assume outside of not qualifying on the pole, it's been just about a solid weekend as you could have hoped for so far. A lot of confidence in your pit.
Yeah, for sure. All the guys at GMS did a good job preparing the Smoky Mountain Herbal Snuff Chevy, and it's one of my favorite racetracks. I don't think that's any question about that. So ultimately, we're starting on the inside line, which is a plus. So, you know, I'd like to say that I thought we had a shot at the pole, but you know, we worked really hard on long run speed yesterday, trying to make sure that we were consistent and had good forward drive, like always. And but you know, it's the same old deal. Martinsville, it's almost as treacherous as Talladega. You know, you can get caught up in somebody else's mess. So just got to be smart in the pits today, have good pit strategy, and ultimately try to keep track position towards the end of this race, so we're not a ping pong ball.
That's Johnny Sauter, John. He'll roll off 5th.
Love ping pong ball. That's what happens. It's time to get Todd's take on this afternoon's race. Martinsville has produced 9 first-time winners, more than any other track. Will we see one today?
Why not? You put yourself in the right position, a driver does the right things, anybody can win this race.
Okay, a non-chaser has won 2 of the 3 chase races. Will that trend continue?
There again, I don't see why not. We've got a lot of guys out there not in this chase. We only got 6 in the chase, so the odds are you're going to find another one.
Okay, now Martinsville is tied with Texas for the most overtime finishes in series history with 10. Will we see extra laps today?
There again, why not? I think Martinsville lends itself to that. The guys get anxious at the end of the race and trying to make positions, and they get in trouble, and guys get spun out. You can see one.
Quick pick, Todd. Who wins?
I think I'm going to go with Johnny Sauter.
Okay, the veteran. He said he just doesn't want to be a ping pong ball. All right, it's time for the second round of the inaugural Truck Series chase to begin. 6 drivers continue their quest to Homestead for a chance to win the championship. Vince Welch, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip will have the call for Martinsville. Enjoy the race.
Set to go here at the Martinsville Speedway.
Our good deeds and our mistakes all have witnesses.
This place is crazier than anywhere we go.
You've got to draw us close.
Somebody tell them that, please.
Asphalt track, let us open up our engines and race.
He'll take the lead away.
To race is to live.
Oh, God, what? Now he gets hammered.
You can't think, you can't remember what you do or say. There is no thinking. Our hearts beat, but our minds are dead. You may think the win is in the bag when it isn't, but we can't be sure.
From the largest track to the smallest. Last week, Talladega. Today, it's the half-mile Martinsville Speedway. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Chase Race number 4. Timothy Peters continues his championship bid after a pair of top 5s in round 1, but his truck has been a handful this weekend. Of the chasers, he starts deepest today. Fellow chaser Ben Kennedy also struggled in qualifying. The winner earlier this season at Bristol, Kennedy hopes to rekindle his short track magic today. 9 drivers make their series debut here this afternoon, including 16-year-old Harrison Burton, the son of former NASCAR star Jeff Burton. Harrison will be the 2nd youngest to ever start a Truck Series race. Cup standout Chase Elliott revisits the Truck Series for the first time in almost 3 years, and he's back with a flair. Dominant in qualifying, he'll try to become the 9th driver to win from the pole at Martinsville. This is the first race in round 2 of the chase, and for more key storylines, here's Hermie Sadler.
Johnny Sauter qualified for this chase by winning back in Daytona in February on NASCAR's largest track. He comes to Martinsville today trying to punch his ticket to Homestead to realize that dream. Martinsville Speedway, he has 2 wins. He qualified 5th. This team feels like today may be their best shot. Caitlin Vincey?
Well, Hermie, William Byron advanced to this round of the chase several weeks ago when he won at New Hampshire, but he told me just a bit ago he's really looking forward to the start of a new round, a reset, and once again, the intensity racked up for these teams. He said, as a competitor, I feel like I perform really well under this kind of pressure. Now, he had a top 5 here in the spring, and they brought the same truck for him to go after the race win today. Vince?
Thank you, Caitlin. And those 6 wins, a series best for William Byron. Who will do it today? Will it be one of the 6 chasers? Byron, Christopher Bell, Timothy Peters, Johnny Sauter, Ben Kennedy, or maybe last year's winner, Matt Crafton? We're just about ready to find out at Martinsville.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise and remove your hats as the Magna Vista Junior ROTC Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Bishop Joe N. Gravely, Jr. from World Assemblies of Restoration offers today's invocation.
Lord Jesus, first we want to say thank you for how you have kept us all safe and sound and brought us to this our destination. Next, Lord, I ask that you would continually bless us individually and collectively as we go about our ways. We ask, Lord, that you would continue to bless Clay Campbell and his staff always in their efforts to bring this event to Martinsville, Virginia. And lastly, Lord, I ask that you would continually watch over the pit crew members and the drivers as they engage in these activities. Keep them safe, Lord God, and sound. And as always, I ask you and I say unto you, thank you in advance for that which I know you're going to do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Here today to honor America with a performance of our national anthem, please welcome the Martinsville High School Marching Band.
The drivers are ready. So many agendas, so many goals, so much at stake. It's all going to play out here at Martinsville. You see it. It's a picture-perfect day here at Martinsville Speedway, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, getting ready for the first race in round 2 of the chase. Going to be fun here today, as we said in the open, from Talladega, the biggest track last week, to the smallest here at Martinsville. There's not much room to move around here. You're going to be fighting for space on the track and maybe be fighting in the garage afterwards. That's our kind of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt here. And we've got 6 chasers in this race here. We've got 3 of them outside the top 10, though. Really worry a little bit about Ben Kennedy back in 18th and Timothy Peters back in 19th, because this race has only been won 3 times from outside the top 10, this 200 lapper. Remember, it's 50 laps shorter than the spring race. But these guys will be fighting for space, Vince, as you mentioned here. This is Eric Jones, our point leader, coming in here last year. This is inside of 10 laps to go, and he gets involved in this little bit of a skirmish here. He salvages the top 10 finish, though, but that could have cost him a championship. This race averages 22 vehicles on the lead lap here. So something like that happens late and you get a flat tire, you have to come in the pits, you could knock yourself out of a chance race for a championship.
And I love our chase for the championship here in the Camping World Truck Series. It's playoff time, and you know what it's all about, guys? You better win. Haven't heard one chase competitor say a word about if we can have a good points day, that'll be fun for us. They're all about getting to victory lane, just like William Byron did in the opening race of our chase for 2016. Byron went to Loudon. He led practice. He led the most laps, and he won the race. And when he did those victory donuts afterwards, they've never tasted sweeter. He knew that he was going to make it through the first round and into the second here at Martinsville. And if he can do the same thing at Martinsville, cut those sweet donuts, that means he's going to go to Miami for a chance to win the championship. How great would that be? That's why the chase is so much fun. Every driver down there is thinking about just win, baby.
And they're dead even right now, exactly the same amount of points.
William Byron, a rookie. Of course, he's won 6 times, but we've got 9 drivers making their series debut today. Any nerves for them? And how about the veterans that have to race around?
All the above. Just tell me where your spotter is. Let me see what he's got to say.
Well, we're about to find out 200 laps worth. It's going to be fun. Let's get that command to fire those engines.
Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome today's Grand Marshal, representing race sponsor Texas Roadhouse, Andrew Combs.
On behalf of Texas Roadhouse in Roanoke, Virginia, and the 50,000 employees nationwide, Martinsville, are you ready to go racing? Drivers, start your engines.
Love that sound. So much history. The trucks are about to go racing for the 36th time at Martinsville. How about this day? Not a cloud in the sky. Temperatures in the low 70s at Martinsville Speedway. An absolutely splendid day for those in the grandstands, and you at home are going to enjoy this one as well. With Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, I'm Vince Welch. Glad to have you with us. And here's the Camping World track description, Phil.
Yeah, probably one of the more technical tracks in America right now. Everything is about rhythm and timing with your feet. Put your brake foot and your gas foot. You see the corners are banked 12 degrees. That's the flattest 12 degrees I've ever seen. Like a paper clip, Michael.
They look pretty simple, Phil, but it gets a little bit more complicated. We're going to go 200 laps. Our caution clock's going to go off around lap 60 or so. The fuel went between 125 and 130. Last October, Matt Crafton started 13th and drove to victory lane. So you can come from anywhere. But boy, I'd cherish one of those front 2 rows of the starting spot, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Starting lineup. Speaking of starting spots, you'll see those roll by at the top of the screen. How about our onboards? Got some cool looks today.
Yeah, let's ride along with Christopher Bell, that JBL Toyota. Christopher had the best average finish in the first round of the chase. If he can do that again, he'll be racing for a championship at Homestead, and he starts today from the 6th spot.
I talked about a couple of front row starting spots. I'd like to have Tyler Reddick's got one of those. He's got the Cooper Standard Ford rolling off 4th with our Ford onboard camera. And I think the folks from Fox have lost their mind. Look at this camera we have on the nose of this truck. We're going to definitely lose this this camera before the race is over, but it's going to be fun to watch.
We're also going to ride along with Cole Custer. He won a race in his first 2 seasons, would desperately like to get a win here in his 3rd season before he moves on to the other series, and he will drive his one main Chevrolet from the 3rd spot.
Check out Chase Elliott. He's in the Napa Valvoline Chevy. Chase is on the pole. He is very fast in every session today in qualifying, and look for him to be strong in the race. The Napa Chevy is on the pole.
You see our starting lineup again at the top of the screen. Our chasers, the 6 remaining in the hunt for the championship, highlighted in yellow. Back downstairs to Caitlin.
Well, Vince, Chase Elliott has not competed in a Truck Series race since November of 2013, but looking at this weekend, it seems he has not missed a beat. Now, he teamed up with Contreras Motorsports in that 71 entry, sat on the pole earlier today, but now this is kind of a joint effort between Contreras and Hendrick Motorsports, because when you look at pit road, he will have that 24 Sprint Cup pit crew pitting this truck for him throughout the course of the day. So expect Chase Elliott to potentially play the role of chase spoiler for some of these Truck Series regulars. Hermie?
Well, Caitlin, when you look at the 6 drivers that are in this round here at Martinsville, it truly is a battle of experience versus youth. Look at some of our veterans in this sport. Timothy Peters, Matt Crafton. These guys, look at the average age. 38 on the left, 17, 21, 88. The average ages of Christopher Bell, William Byron, and Ben Kennedy, 21. Look at Martinsville start. Our veterans had 67. The eight starts for the other three. Career starts, 800 and 115. What will win today, experience or youth? Vince, I guess we'll know in about 200 laps.
Well, it's going to be a great mix. Thank you very much, Hermie. We saw that 21. That's Johnny Sauter. He's the chaser that's starting closest to the front. He'll roll off 5th today.
Okay, guys, we're going to win this thing. I got a good feeling. We're good. Johnny, you're one of the best here. Let's go get this done. Let's get it done for this chase.
Johnny Sauter won the season opener at Daytona, and he's one of those 6 that's still in the hunt for the championship.
Just what I said at the top of the show. Just win. Let's get this behind us, get the win in the books, and go to Miami and try to be the champion of this series.
I've never seen Johnny Sauter more optimistic than he's been all weekend long here. He loves that truck.
He's won a couple of times here at Martinsville already, and you're right. Since that truck rolled off the hauler, they have been good. He's been happy with it. Sometimes Johnny sees that glass half full, or half empty. Not this weekend. It's been half full all weekend.
And let me just tell you about Johnny Sauter. He also is realistic. He knows how quickly things can go bad here at Martinsville. We're running bumper to bumper, scrubbing sides. You can cut a tire, and like you said earlier, Phil, 22 guys usually finish on the lead lap. You could be out of it in a hurry as well.
We've got 9 drivers making their first series start. You see the 6 listed here making their series debut here at Martinsville. Just about ready for the green. Chase Elliott, the pole winner on the inside. On the outside, it's Daniel Suarez racing at Martinsville.
It's all about getting down to the inside. You saw Cameron Haley, that 13 truck, turn hard left to get to the inside.
Paz Grala is going to get stuck 3 wide on the outside. That's not where you want to be.
He's going to lose some spots for it. Cole Custer really digging on the inside there in that 0-0, trying to keep Daniel Suarez on the outside and get that 2nd place spot.
Bill, a lot of times we talk about on these restarts, will the leader take the high side or will he take the low side? We won't be having that conversation today. The leader is going to line up on the bottom until we get all the way to the checkered.
Suarez going to get hung out there in that spot, isn't he?
He's got a hole behind that 21. He probably should back off, let the 21 go, then duck in there in the 4th spot.
Yeah, but that's Tyler Reddick in the 29 trying to close that hole. I think Suarez is going to be able to get down, but they're battling all throughout the field, all the way back through last is trying to get some position on someone.
Chase Elliott, the early leader here at Martinsville. Of course, Elliott full-time in the Sprint Cup Series. First truck start in about 3 years. Isn't happy with the way he's driven here at Martinsville, so in preparation for the Cup race, he wanted to get some laps in the truck, and he has made it count here this weekend. Dominated all 3 rounds of qualifying to earn the pole, and he's out front here in the early going today.
Yeah, 6th place finish back in 2013 is his best here in the trucks at this racetrack.
That's Cole Custer in 2nd, Johnny Sauter, our first chaser, in 3rd, Suarez in 4th.
And that's a truck on the move. Matt Crafton, you see him taking a look on the inside of his teammate, Cameron Haley, trying to squeeze between that pink curb and the bright orange truck. Couldn't quite make it work, but I like the way Crafton's truck looks early.
Yeah, that pink curb looks a little tame, but you bounce off that curb, you can get into one of your competitors on the outside.
Yeah, the last thing that Cameron Haley wants to see is Matt Crafton hit that curb, because if he does, he's going to go right into the side of Haley.
Christopher Bell inside of the 29 of Tyler Reddick. That's for 5th.
We saw a gap develop between Suarez in 4th and Reddick in 5th as we take a look at that Ford bumper camera. We hope that thing stays in there with us the whole race.
So far, so good, though, huh?
In 7 laps, yeah.
And look at Byron heat up the back of the 29 truck of Reddick. He wants that spot because he knows Matt Crafton in that 88 is fast, and he's coming.
Yeah, I think it looks like the 29's a little bit off right now. He lost touch with Suarez. Now he's got William Byron all over him.
In fact, they're all stacked up behind him. And when you've got a slower truck, you're going to stack up the traffic behind you.
See Custer able to move in on Elliott here in traffic. Remember, both of these trucks came out of the Junior Motorsports stable.
And that's Johnny Sauter lurking right there behind them. Suarez has been able to keep contact with our leaders, but then there's another gap, Vince, like you talked about, back to Christopher Bell. Luckily, Bell's got Reddick behind him, and Reddick's a bit off the pace as well, so a little breathing room for those trucks.
Timothy Peters, we mentioned, starting the furthest back of our chasers today, starting to try to make his way up through, as now William Byron is getting around Tyler Reddick, and Matt Crafton's going to come with him, and we'll see about that whole chain full of drivers to get by Reddick. But meanwhile, a change of the lead. That's Cole Custer getting around the 71 of Chase Elliott, and also Johnny Sauter made it 2.
We know how much Johnny Sauter would like to get up there and lead a lap, get a bonus point here. Every point matters.
You know, we talked about at the start how these drivers want to be on the bottom. The top 3 racers right now all started on the bottom of the racetrack, so it pays off early and it'll pay off often.
Looking at Ben Kennedy in that 33, he's up to 13th. Ben Rhodes right behind him there in the 41 machine.
Yeah, nice pickup of 5 spots so far for Ben Kennedy. Started back in the 18th spot. Johnny Sauter all over the back of the 00 of Cole Custer.
Well, these are 2 drivers that have been very happy with their trucks throughout the course of the weekend. Each felt like they had trucks that if they could stay in it till the end, we're going to be up there in the front battling potentially for the win. And right now it looks like Sauter's a little better.
Yeah, but what a great corner by Custer. He's able to pull away. There's Kaz Gralla in that white number 24 truck. He's on the inside of Kennedy. Looked like he was trying to go 3 wide for a second. Thought better of that, but a nice move by Gralla.
Yeah, I thought it was a better move to back off. Why make it 3 wide here? Just 14 laps into this race.
That's the battle for 14th on the right-hand side of the screen, but those are the leaders, first and second on the left-hand side. Cole Custer in the 00, Johnny Sauter in the 21.
Check out Ben Rhodes into the back of Ben Kennedy. Kind of takes his momentum away, knocks him sideways. Now, you know, Phil, with 15 laps to go or late in this race, you figure that's going to happen. A little bit early to do that to another competitor. And what Ben Kennedy will do, he'll write that down in his mind. He'll say, all right, Ben, if that's how you want to play, you better hope I don't catch you because I'll knock you right out of the way.
Timothy Peters in the 17. That's Kennedy there in the 33, being heated up by the 11 of Matt Tiff. All back there, 16th, 17th, 18th. The 00 of Cole Custer out front at Martinsville. Even when you're the leaders at Martinsville, you're in traffic. Cole Custer and Johnny Sauter putting traffic a lap down. How about that 00, Hermie?
Running up front right now is Cole Custer in the 00, and while he is not racing for a championship, he and this team feel like they should be racing for a championship. You go back to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, taking that on the last lap, but they've used that as fuel. Every time they come to the racetrack, they have that mission in mind to try to go to victory lane as many times as possible. Cole's got a good run going so far today, and remember, he has a pole here at Martinsville as well as a top 5 finish at this race last year.
Thank you, Hermie. Keeping an eye on the leaders, and then also William Byron, who's been about the fastest truck consistently during this stage of the race, and watch him make the move on his teammate here, Christopher Bell.
Yeah, that was for the 5th spot right there, and ever since that happened during our commercial break, he's opened up about 2 seconds over Christopher Bell.
You see, it looks like, Vince, that Byron made that move getting into the corner on Bell, but it was actually made exiting the turn. That's how you pass at Martinsville. You really got to get a good run up off the corner to put yourself in a position to get to the inside of the guy you're racing. Just like you see Johnny Sauter do there. Strong run off turn 4. Wasn't quite enough momentum to move on Custer, but man, he's going to be there soon.
He's going to be there about right now, Michael. Look a little bit sideways and never backs off. Yeah.
Back with him there.
Yeah, Cole Custer's spotter said, let him go. There's no sense running this hard this early.
How about Johnny Sauter? I think that's the first lap he's led since Kentucky in July. So the team is in a good place at the right time of the season.
We heard his crew chief Joe Shearer talk about it during the parade lap. We have the truck to win this race here. Let's go do it. Punch our ticket.
They haven't been the best through the chase. The first round they were 10th at New Hampshire, and then back-to-back 7th place finishes with Vegas and Talladega. Haven't really found the exact sweet spot of that 21 machine, but they've certainly got it this weekend. As you see Chase Elliott work his way through traffic. Started on the pole, led the first 10 laps. He's now slipped back a couple of spots, running in 3rd. About a second and a half behind the leader, Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, he had fallen back to the 4th spot. He was able to get back by Daniel Suarez a few laps ago. Looked a little bit loose getting in the corner that time, didn't it?
You know, Phil, every lap I watch Chase, he goes in the corner. That truck just looks like it's hung out a bit, but he's doing a great job. And I just love seeing the Napa Chevy out there. That reminds me so much of Ron Hornaday running up near the front, winning races, and Ron, of course, championships, and it's fun to see that truck back out there.
Christopher Bell in that 4 machine as you look out the front bumper of the 29 of Tyler Reddick. Trying to get around that 22. That's Justin Fontaine, the 19-year-old, making his debut here in the Truck Series. Bell handles him, and they're going to move by.
Yeah, Justin moved over to the inside and gave the 4 a chance to get by. We see him bounce off the curb there. Very, very close for he and Tyler Reddick.
Boy, almost collected Matt Kraft in there. How about what's happening with that 88, Caitlin?
Well, Vince, it's been a smooth day so far for them. They picked up a couple spots from where they qualified, but over the last several weeks, we have not seen the performances we've grown accustomed to seeing out of Matt Crafton. And crew chief Junior Joyner told me we spent some time tracing our steps to see where things went off track. We know we need to get back to our aggressive ways. We also had some issues on pit road, so they have made a change. They are now using a Hendrick Motorsports development team they used last season. They will be with them for the remainder of the year, and they were hoping that will make a difference on pit road. Matt Crafton currently P8 right now in this race. Vince?
We'll keep an eye on that as the trucks do come to pit road eventually. Our caution clock is under 10 minutes. And we're going to get a caution if you don't stay off the curb. That'll bring them out in a hurry. Collect some cars or some trucks. Back to Martinsville. Back at Martinsville, Johnny Sauter is the leader, but boy, he had to work Cole Custer to get it.
Yeah, lap trucks are so difficult here. They're not doing anything wrong. There's the 1 truck, Josh White, again on the bottom of the racetrack. There's the 22, once again, Justin Fontaine. He stays up the racetrack, and then Johnny said, well, I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to get a little bit of a shot up off the corner and drive on by.
And that's exactly what he did. Not only did he drive by, he drove by sideways. But what I like about Johnny Sauter there, Phil, he didn't give Cole Custer a reason to boot him back. He passed him cleanly. It's early in the race. You need to make sure you do that so that you don't have the people out, other drivers out there thinking, well, you rooted me out of the way, I'm going to get you back.
Chase Elliott in that 71 truck started on pole, led the first 10 laps, and then Cole Custer took over and led 17 before Sauter grabbed the advantage. Looking at Cole Custer out the front window of Chase Elliott's machine, and just ahead of Custer is the leader, Sauter.
Yeah, Chase had fallen back a little bit. Actually fell back to 4th behind Suarez, probably a couple seconds off this lead duo, and then got back by Suarez and just drove right up to these guys. Ooh, a little bit of contact between a couple lap trucks.
And
Caution clock under 5 minutes, Mike, so teams will be keeping an eye on that situation as well. Maybe the first time coming to pit road. Hermie?
Vince, the 21 started out too tight. The truck will not rotate right there through the center of the corner. But as they've run through this fuel run, he is now too loose on exit. He cannot get the throttle down on exit of turn 2 and turn 4. They'll adjust it when they come to pit road at the end of this caution clock, if not sooner.
And Vince, I just wanted to remind you, these trucks use a tremendous amount of brakes here at Martinsville. They are slamming on the brakes getting into the corner. We're going to watch all these racers and make sure we don't see brake problems develop, but especially if you're a chaser, you better be 90% on those brakes this early in the race, because the brakes are so good, Phil, you can overheat them quickly because of the stopping power they have. That could cause you troubles later.
Yeah, that will boil the brake fluid, and then you lose your brake pedal.
Already we're hearing some drivers complain about brake issues of one sort or another, including the 81 of Ryan Truex over the radio.
Think about this. Most everywhere we go, with the exception of maybe road courses, what would you rather have more of? You'd rather have more power or more ability to stop? Well, you want more power. Power everywhere. Here at Martinsville, you just want to be able to stop that thing. It's going plenty fast when you get down to these paperclip turns.
Spin right in front of our leader.
And into the wall.
I think that was the 1 of Josh White.
Fortunately, Sauter had enough room to see it. There's a second truck involved in that as well.
That's Kyle Donahue, that 16-year-old in the 63, came along after the fact.
Wow, you think maybe Donahue saw the crash and slowed and somebody booted him from behind?
Or locked up the brakes and around he went and made some contact with that left rear quarter. Pretty hard, significant contact with that left rear quarter panel.
Both of those guys are making their Truck Series debut. They didn't want it to wind up like that.
for sure. Certainly doesn't want to meet down
Bring
there.
it straight to pit road. Bring it straight to pit road.
Boy, that's the difference between a good break and a bad break. Obviously, for these two, not the way their day wanted to go, as you guys indicated, but also Johnny Sauter, the race leader, fortunate enough to be back just enough that where he didn't get caught up in that.
Wow. Donahue just got loose on entry, maybe saw the truck spinning, added a little bit extra brake pressure, locked up those rear tires, got to wheel hopping, and around it went. That's most likely what happened.
It looked like he actually hit the wall harder than the one truck of Josh White.
Yeah, he can't even drive his away.
Cole Witt will get the free pass in that 92 truck as we're about a fourth the way through this one here at Martinsville Speedway. The first race in round 2 of the chase race number 4 overall here in the Camping World Truck Series.
Vince, you'd mentioned that the caution clock was winding down. I've had several crew chiefs in the garage here say we will not see a caution clock today. It's been about 3 years since we had a run that was at least 60 laps.
They were pretty close, but the yellow is out as you see the cleanup after Josh White and the 63 of Kyle Donahue both got into the wall.
This is fitting in about exactly where these crew chiefs would like to see it, somewhere around 50 to 60 laps for their first pit stop.
And do you think perhaps their only pit stop, Phil, or do you think they'll come in another 50 or so and get some more tires?
I think they'd like to come in around 110, 120.
Johnny Sauter leads a long line to pit road. Check in on the 00 first, and that's where Hermie's located.
This 00 started off a little bit on the tight side. It'll be 4 tires and fuel and a track bar adjustment. Same for Johnny Sauter. He started tight, got too loose. 4 tires will go down on the track bar on the 21. Caitlin.
Well, Hermie, Chase Elliott has made 2 starts in the truck here at Martinsville. Best effort of 6. He started out the run a little bit loose. He says, I'm too tight now. They're going to go ahead and elect to do a 4-tire stop, make a chassis adjustment, and fuel as well for the 71 of Chase Elliott.
You can see all the brake dust off that right front tire that they took off that 71 truck. So who wins the battle off pit road? Looks like it's going to be Chase, followed by Cole Custer.
The pit crew getting it done for Chase Elliott.
Set to go here at the Martinsville Speedway.
Our good deeds and our mistakes all have witnesses.
This place is crazier than anywhere we go.
You've got to draw us close.
Somebody tell him that, please.
Asphalt track, let us open up our engines and race.
He'll take the lead away.
To race is to live.
Chase race number 4. The first race in round 2 of the chase for the trucks. It's Martinsville Speedway. With Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip, I'm Vince Welch, Hermie Sadler, and Caitlin Vincey on pit road. And our leader is Chase Elliott. Started the race from the pole, and his pit crew, after slipping back to 3rd, just absolutely got it done on this first round of pit stops. Got him out first. A lot of teams talking about brakes here at Martinsville. How about the 88, Caitlin?
Yeah, Vince, lots of drivers already having issues with their brakes in the early goings of this race. Matt Crafton also one of them, and just voiced some concerns to his team on the radio.
If I don't skip there, pump the whole time around the racetrack, they'll go 3/4 of the way to the floor, if not more. And it's just killing me because then I have so much rear brake in it. I understand, but you need to tell me if I need to fix them. They'll give up all the track position. You want me to fix them? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what'll fix them, dude. I mean, it's the worst I've ever had here.
They didn't end up fixing those brakes. I just talked to Crew Chief Junior Joyner. He seemed a little bit frustrated with this issue. He also said they were free in and off, so they made a track bar adjustment for that 88 truck, gave him 4 tires and fuel. Vince.
Thank you, Caitlin. Keep an eye on that story, certainly, as it continues to develop and this race progresses. Getting ready for the restart with Chase Elliott on the inside, Cole Custer on the outside.
Good start by Custer. He's able to hang beside Chase, but man, it's tough to gain the position on the high side. If he can just hold off Johnny Sauter, it'll be a success.
Great move to get to the inside in front of the 21 of Johnny Sauter.
Boy, everybody on the outside just looking for a spot to get down, and it is especially difficult on these restarts.
You know, they put some of the same solution on the outside group that they used at Bristol a couple months ago. They put it down there for the late model race with some success, but I don't think they put any more down, and it looks like it's worn off. Daniel Hemrick get down to the inside right in front of Cameron Haley.
Wow, that's where it really heats up, Phil. When you start to lose a little bit of momentum by trying to get in line, it backs the pack up, and it gives guys an opportunity to get 3 wide, like you saw Ben Kennedy think about there for a second. Things go bad in a hurry.
There's the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek you saw briefly, now on board with the 29 of Tyler Reddick. Reddick running in the 12th spot. Just behind him is Ben Kennedy there in that 33, and behind Kennedy, the red and white 17 of Timothy Peters. And we talk about this bumper cam on Reddick's truck. Get up close and personal with it right here.
Watch what he does here. He looks to the back of John Hunter Nemechek, then to the outside.
John Hunter was just trying to get down to the inside. You see more people turning hard left here on the straightaway than you do about anywhere else we race.
You see many things here that you don't see anywhere else we race. The speeds average around 90 miles an hour. That means top speeds of maybe 130, 140 on the straightaway. And that gives guys a lot of courage to give them a bump, to give them a push, to grab the spot away.
Down to about 60 miles an hour in the center of the corner.
William Byron, the 9 truck, got hung out on the outside. Christopher Bell got by him, as did the 88 of Matt Crafton, and now Daniel Hemrick working on the 6-time winner.
William desperately wants to get back down to the bottom, but you have to be patient here. You can't get in a hole that's not there.
Byron was our fastest truck consistently throughout the first run of the day, but now he finds himself in a real bind.
Timothy Peters and Spencer Gallagher fighting it out back there for 16th. We talked about William Byron and some of the issues getting put on the train there on the outside. What's happening there, Hermie?
Simply a matter of being in the wrong place on the racetrack. On the top side, you can see he gets in line right behind Kaz Growler. We'll see if he can stabilize. I talked to crew chief Rudy Fugel just prior to the caution coming out, and he said, we are good. William likes this truck, and right now he's getting pressure. It looks like he'll be passed by Nemechek. So they made no adjustments on this 9 truck. We'll have to just see if he can get back in line, back in rhythm, and get back some of this track position.
Maybe an indication, too, of how well the 8 truck is handling. John Hunter Nemechek's had some good speed this weekend.
And Herman made a great point. William was telling you this morning, this is a rhythm racetrack. He has to get back in the rhythm. He's been hung on the outside since the restart. Harrison Burton grabbing a spot from Tyler Reddick. Harrison in that 18 KBM truck.
I'm really surprised that William has fallen back like he had. Like I said, lap after lap, the fastest early. Now he can't just seem to get that rhythm back. There's our leaders. Chase Elliott has done a great job of taking the lead on the strength of his pit crew and holding it. We saw him really rally, Phil, after 10, 12, 15 laps, lost the lead, but then really started to come back late in that run. Be interesting to see if that crew could make the right adjustments so that he can be strong throughout. Looks like Custer's looking to the bottom.
Also during that round of pit stops that Chase Elliott's crew did so successfully, we had a driver change in the 50 truck. Travis Quapple getting out, Dexter Stacy getting in. Hermie?
Yeah, the word is Travis Quapple under the weather, not feeling well, so under that caution, it took about 3 pit stops, but Travis Quapple is out, Dexter Stacy is in.
Thank you, Hermie. Stacy, 23 years old, from Quebec. Made a couple of truck starts last year at Texas and Homestead. First time we're seeing him this season.
Joins DJ Kennington and Cameron Haley as a couple Canadians out there. So we got an international flair to our starting lineup here in Southern Virginia.
How about Daniel Suarez from Mexico?
They're all chasing Chase Elliott.
Suarez has joined this battle, Vince. He's closed up on this threesome. Looks like Johnny Sauter might be stronger right now than Cole Custer. He's really pressuring Cole. Chase has been able to drive away since that challenge earlier from Custer.
Remember, Custer led the race early on. Johnny Sauter was able to get by him, lead the race for 25 laps. Right along with Cole Custer, the Chevrolet on board. I think the 21 and the 00 trucks are pretty darn close right now. And Chase Elliott, boom, is right there in front of them.
Chase Elliott out front for 30 laps so far here at Martinsville. The 71 of Chase Elliott out front at Martinsville, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Chase race number 4. 80 of 200 complete. Had 1 caution. Kyle Donahue and Josh White both got into the wall down in turn 1.
Michael, you talked about somebody punching their ticket into the final race at Homestead Racing for a championship. If a Chase Elliott or Daniel Suarez, somebody like that wins this race, there'll be no ticket punched here today.
Yeah, no, the attention will probably turn to how many points did I get? Did I get more points than the rest of those chasers? Because you take away an automatic advance to the final round, then those points become more important.
Well, we've had 3 chase races. A chaser's only won 1 of them.
That's
and it
right.
was William Byron right there in that 9 truck. He won the chase opener at Loudon, New Hampshire. But then in race 2 of round 1, Tyler Reddick went to victory lane, and last week at Talladega was Grant Enfinger.
And it did not take away from the drama and the excitement of those transfer positions at Talladega. It was so intense watching to see if Daniel Hemrick could effect repairs and get himself back into the lead pack. And then John Hunter Nemechek blows in engines. So every position matters.
As it is now, we know 4 drivers are going to transfer into Homestead. We know at least 1 will make it on points. If we have a non-chaser win here, then we know at least two will make it on points.
Well, you've got to wonder whether Timothy Peters is feeling a little panicked with the way things are going for him so far. Mired back there in 18th, Caitlin.
Yeah, Vince, and I spoke with Timothy before the race. He says it's just been an up and down weekend since we unloaded off the truck, and now in the race seems to be a bit of the same story. He says, I need more forward drive. I am tight through the middle, and his crew chief Shane Huffman just told him you got a little piece of trash on the grill. I don't think it's too much to worry about, but his spotter telling Timothy Peters, just settle in. Let's try and run some good laps here, but certainly not the performance we're used to seeing out of Timothy Peters here at Martinsville.
Well, and if you're not going to be the truck that goes to victory lane, then you do have to focus on points, as you guys were talking about. And it certainly doesn't seem like Timothy's got a race-winning truck today.
And you also might now have to focus on strategy, Phil. Timothy Peters back outside the top 15. His truck is running decent lap times. He's not terrible, but in order to be able to get up toward the top 5 and make something of this day, he could have to pit when the leaders don't. Maybe if all the leaders come, you stay out, get your tires either later or earlier than the competition.
There's Chase Elliott maneuvering through some lap traffic.
Tommy Joe Martin's pushed up to the outside by Cole Custer.
That's one thing about this racetrack. There's really no place to hide. If you're a little bit off the base or if you lose the cylinder, there's absolutely nowhere to hide here. You're going to be around other trucks and other trucks trying to get by you.
You know, with Chase Elliott leading this race, reminds me of the rule that was put into play this week by NASCAR. NASCAR announcing that Sprint Cup Series drivers with more than 5 years full-time experience will be able to compete in just 7 truck races beginning next season. And those drivers cannot race in the regular season finale or any of the 7 chase races. Interestingly enough, though, it really wouldn't affect Chase Elliott because he's only been a full-time Cup Series driver for a year.
For 4 more years, it wouldn't affect him, right?
Well, and I think that's great that NASCAR is limiting 7, pick a number, I don't really care, but limiting the guys from racing in our playoffs. I think that's really important. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, those are some of the guys that come down and run the trucks, and they're not going to be able to run in the playoffs. I love that. Remember I talked about Kaz Grala? I thought he was going to be able to make some moves. He got around Cameron Haley, but it looks like Haley's going to be able to charge back around him.
That's for 7th place. Haley in that 13 truck really had a good run here in this race last year, then came back, had a good run going in the spring here as well. He really takes to this Martinsville track.
He does, and he took that spot away. He took that line away from Kaz Grala.
Getting close to halfway at Martinsville. Everyone is chasing Chase. We're halfway at Martinsville. Chase Elliott in the 71 leading the race. The 00 of Cole Custer on the chase. And so many others trying to stay on the lead lap or stay out of the way. I mean, you can't hide here at Martinsville on this half mile, and even the leaders are in traffic almost every single lap.
Yeah, that 05 of John West Townley desperately wants to stay on the lead lap. It's not going to happen for him as Chase Elliott gets down to the inside, but that brought Cole Custer right up there with him. The ground he lost trying to get by the lap trucks.
And those 2 trucks, Phil, have driven away from 3rd place Johnny Sauter. The caution clock continues to tick down. Like you said, the garage area said, no way we're going to have a caution clock go off. These guys are going to wreck early and they're going to wreck often. Well, we're just a few minutes away from it expiring.
Matt Crafton able to make the move on the 51 for the 4th spot. Daniel Suarez now back to 5th.
I feel real good about this 88 truck. I think he's strong, and this is a guy that's beginning to rebound. He was about a half a straightaway behind Austin Hill in the 20. He's been able to catch that truck, but I think he's beginning to get a little bit frustrated with the way things are going.
Look at Tyler Reddick.
I got 2 choices: get out of the way or get wrecked. We're coming. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I saw, Vince. He's coming. And he says he's going to lay the chrome horn to him when he gets there.
Well, nothing more frustrating when you feel like you've got a fast truck and you're being held up by slower. Frustrating when you feel like you've got a fast truck and you're being held up by slower traffic, even though there's not a whole lot of places to go out here.
Let's just make a note at the halfway point of the race, Timothy Peters was 18th. Let's see what kind of progress with a good truck now that he can make throughout the second half of this race.
He's only about 4 or 5 seconds ahead of our leader, but that should hold off here with our caution clock only at 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
There's the 98 of Rico Abreu and the silver truck. That's the 81 of Ryan Truex.
Yeah, Abreu goes the second lap down. Truex
would be 3 once he gets past.
I just like the pace that Cole Custer has been able to keep. He hasn't pressured Elliott at all, but he's just went everywhere that Chase has gone. There's no real reason to go up there and punish your brakes or your tires and try to lead this race right now. You just want to keep that guy in front of you honest. Don't let him save his stuff.
Spencer Gallagher, significant damage into the wall.
Yeah, it looks like a right front tire went down.
Keep coming here. Couple more coming inside.
Gallagher was back in the 15th spot.
Come down, come down.
Tough braking. Once again, our caution clock.
No indication, just went. Don't think I hit the wall too bad.
That's good news. Sounds like he lost a tire. No indication, just went. And you know, when I talk about Cole Custer just keeping pace with Chase Elliott, you use those brakes really hard. You risk burning the bead, the rubber bead off of the right front tire.
You melt the bead, don't you?
So there's the damage on the right front fender for the 23 of Gallagher.
He was right in between the 18 of Harrison Burton and the 20 of Austin Hill. Again, no warning whatsoever. It just went. He's right, though. He did not make that hard a contact with the outside safer barrier.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
Team needs to get that right front fender pulled out. Here comes our leaders. Right along about what you said, Phil. They wanted to pit a lap at 100 and 100, 110. We're in that window.
Here they come. The 71 of Chase Elliott leading a group down pit lane. Let's check in on the 21 of Johnny Sauter. Hermes in the box waiting on him.
Vince, they made a track bar adjustment on the last stop because Johnny was too loose. Well, now it's too tight in the center. Then it jumps loose on late exit. They're going to try to fix it with air pressure to maintain track position for Johnny Sauter. Caitlin.
Well, Hermie, Christopher Bell really happy with his truck right now. He said the last change on the last stop really helped the exit entry just a little bit free, but still turning good. They're going to do air pressure, track bar, 4 tires. Also, Matt Crafton, he said, I'm fighting the same thing in here. Too tight in the middle. They're doing a wedge adjustment, 4 tires and fuel as well for the 88. Looks like a long stop there for Matt Crafton, also still on pit road.
Well, Chase Elliott's team got him out and away cleanly again.
Good work by Christopher Bell's crew. Jerry Baxter's guys gained 2 spots on pit road.
Well, when it's so difficult to pass on the track, every spot you gain or lose in the pits can really play a key role in how your day ends up.
There's your big loser, William Byron.
Tyler Reddick's crew going to work. Back to Martinsville. Fans enjoying a beautiful day in Martinsville, Virginia. They say it's fall, but tell you what, almost got of a late spring feel. Temperatures in the 70s here today. We take a look at our Ford fact and the winners who piloted Ford here in Martinsville.
Joe Ruttman won the inaugural year of the Truck Series. John Wood from nearby Stewart, Virginia, got his win here for Wood Brothers. Actually driving for Jack Roush then when he won here.
Check in downstairs and get word on some of these pit stops that took place. Hermie?
The events to number 9 of William Byron lost some track position had a decent pit stop, but stalled the truck leaving pit road. That cost him to lose several spots. Also quickly on the 21, very lucky that caution came out. The left rear bead, left rear, that's correct, had melted on the 21. He was just about to have a flat left rear tire, so good break for the 21.
Wow. Indeed, timing.
71 of Chase Elliott decided to take the outside. You wonder if, since they're teammates really out of junior motorsports, that Cole will lag back enough to let Chase get in front of him, then they'll go on and try to fight it out themselves.
As long as they do this properly, it always works nicely. If Cole doesn't get the speed he needs, it's going to stack them up below. See how they pull it off. There goes Elliott to the bottom, just like they choreographed.
Executed perfectly. Chase Elliott to the point. By the way, on Hermie's report talking about William Byron stalling it, he lost 5 spots. That cost him some significant position, and Timothy Peters gained 6 on his pit stop, so some movers forward and backward during that round of pit stops.
Yeah, we talked about Peters being down in the 18th position halfway with a good running truck. They made a good move on that caution there. Got some positions on pit road. His truck's fast. He's all the way up to the 10th spot now. Let's see if he can keep going.
So Haley gets to the inside. That's the 13 truck of John Hunter Nemechek in the 8. He has Daniel Hemrick, the 19, right with him. Look how tight they are getting down in turn 1.
Boy, Nemechek not wanting to give up that spot, but it's going to be so hard to hold off Cameron Haley on the inside.
You can prolong the inevitable, but sometimes it's you end up losing more. It just stacks those trucks up on the inside line behind you, and it just gets harder to get in line on the bottom.
And just behind them, Timothy Peters has worked his way up now just to the 10th spot, and Ben Kennedy's come along with him. Those guys were mired just inside the top 20 for much of the first half of this race, starting to be a little bit more of a factor now.
Great job by John Hunter keeping pace up on the high side. Ooh, he gets loose there off, and it's going to open the door further for Haley. He's going to try to squeeze in front of Hemrick. Daniel's going to let him do it.
Yeah, Daniel gave him a break there. He could have really pushed the issue. Now John Hunter Nemechek moves back to the inside. Cameron Haley pulls over to block, but Nemechek's there.
Great battle between Cameron Haley and John Hunter Nemechek. It's for 7th spot. Haley finally going to get, no, Nemechek right back. Haley just can't quite get clear.
This is good Martinsville racing right there, boys.
Finally.
A couple of guys racing each other with a lot of respect. Kept their lines, didn't bump into each other, sorted it out. You know, we talked before at the halfway point, we had Timothy Peters and Ben Kennedy in trouble. William Byron was up in the top 10. Well, it's flipped. Byron is now all the way back to 15, and these two guys here are 10th and 11th.
Not just 15th, but we talked about him maybe being the favorite here in the chase after those 6 wins and 5 wins in the regular season, and that win to open the chase. Now he's the deepest chaser in the field at that 15th spot.
And we have 122 laps completed here. You may think 78 laps are a long time here. Those laps go by so quick here at this racetrack. That's not that many laps left.
But Phil, this place is a lot like Talladega. The more laps wind off, the more desperate these guys become. They begin to root and gouge and start to take chances on getting in holes that aren't quite there. So while it's 78 laps, we know that they're going to be intense.
So Matt Crafton there in that bright yellow 88 Menards Tundra get by Christopher Bell for 5th place.
See Harrison Burton doing a nice job. He's on to the back of Tyler Reddick. He's up into the 13th position. Kid's doing exactly what I'm sure his dad, Jeff Burton, is proud of him for doing. Keeping it clean, racing hard, and being very competitive.
Yeah, and racing with some really good race trucks right here. You got Tyler Reddick, the 29 truck, just won at Vegas a few weeks ago. Ben Rhodes has been knocking on the door of a win this year. Harrison doing a great job.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, right behind Rhodes, 6-time winner and rookie William Byron trying to forge his way closer to the front, knowing that indeed every point will matter as we race to Miami.
Look how tight they are. A little bit of a gap in front of the 29 truck of Reddick.
Austin Hill in that 20 machine, and then right behind him is Kaz Gralla in the 24, the 17-year-old from Massachusetts. You see our point standings for our chasers as they run. Johnny Sauter, Matt Crafton, Christopher Bell, and Timothy Peters. If it all ended today, of course we're a long way from it ending, but if it all ended today, they would be the 4 that moved on to Homestead for the final race. But we've not only got the rest of this race, but then we've got 2 more. We've got Texas and Phoenix here in round 2 yet.
Great move by William Byron to get underneath that 41 truck of Ben Rhodes. He's got the 20 of Austin Hill with him. Williams should be able to make this pass or move him up a spot into 14th.
You know, we talk about, Vince, how all that matters is getting a win. That's until you find it about 50 laps to go and you're running 13th. Then all of a sudden you want to know, how many points am I behind and what do I need to do to get there? This time, William Byron said, I need to give Ben Rhodes a bit of a bump. He executes it perfectly, knocks him up, and takes that spot away.
I've followed him now for 10 or 15 laps. It's time to go. It was a great move. He didn't spin him out. He just moved him up out of the way.
You're talking with some of the crew chiefs downstairs yesterday. He talked about the tires giving up at about 50 laps. Their green flag runs today have both been right there in that 50 lap range. So maybe we're going to start seeing some of the tires go off. We'll see some comers and goers maybe.
Well, in that first run, Chase Elliott was able to run good for the short run, but he lost it on the long haul. The crew did a great job with the adjustments, and he was able to keep the lead the whole next green flag segment, and now he's up a half second over Cole Custer as we watch Tyler Reddick and Harrison Burton battle just outside the top 10.
There, William Byron has his teammate Harrison Burton in front of him. They're right behind this Reddick truck. Ben Kennedy right in front of Reddick. Remember, one of our chasers running in the 11th spot. Timothy Peters, we talked about him moving up on his pit stop, Michael. He's not been able to gain any once they restarted this race. Still mired back in 10th.
But to Vince's point, it looked like that 17 truck, you see him there right on the back of Daniel Hemrick in that Richard Petty looking number 19 truck. Remember, he was fast on the longer run. The more laps we ran off there, Peters was able to really make ground on the competition. So he can maintain 10th for now. Maybe as the laps wind down, he can grab some spots away.
Bit of a gap, though, in front of Daniel Hemrick, so that's going to ratchet up the intensity a little bit there for Timothy Peters.
88 of Matt Crafton running 5th. Christopher Bell in the 4 truck is 6th. How's that 88 running and holding up, Caitlin?
Well, he's been making some gains, and Matt Crafton, obviously one of the more experienced guys here, 29 starts, but even as a veteran, still kind of searching for a good line to run on this racetrack to gain some speed and pass some other competitors. Here he is getting some guidance from his spotter on the radio on a possible line to run on this racetrack.
I tell you what, the 8's making the top work. We were kind of wondering that they put that VHT down in the late model race. If somebody runs up there, it might come, you know. Well, he hasn't lost a thing. He's past the 13th.
The driver and crew chief kind of going back and forth on the potential running that top line on the racetrack. But Matt started this race 11th, has methodically worked his way up now into the top 5. Vince?
Do you take a chance by trying to go up there?
Well, if you have nobody behind you, there's absolutely nothing to lose. But if you have somebody behind you, you move up, you could be passed by them and maybe everybody right behind them.
Yeah, I was impressed with the way John Hunter Nemechek in the 8, like the spotter and teams were saying, was able to run up there. But Cameron Haley eventually prevailed, and John Hunter can't do anything with them. I don't think there's anything there that these drivers are going to be able to utilize. I think you got to run right around that curb.
On board with Christopher Bell, getting a good look at the 88 of Matt Crafton, and now the 9 of William Byron getting some pressure from that 24 of Kaz Grala.
Yeah, Kaz was all over his tailgate just a lap or so ago here. They're right in line, right behind the 18 of Harrison Burton, the 29 of Reddick.
Yeah, you can't see any evidence that William Byron's better than Harrison Burton. He's just running about a truck length behind him, not able to be right on his tailgate. So that 9 truck with just 60 laps to go looks like it could be in jeopardy of a finish outside the top 10 in our playoffs after winning 6 races this year.
Finished 3rd here in April, but he talked this weekend about struggling a little bit with the technique and getting the rhythm down that he felt was going to provide good, consistent speed, but he looked really good in practice, especially in the late stages of practice yesterday, did William Byron.
Yeah, and early on in this race, he looked really good.
Check in with Hermie.
Vince right in front of that package of 33 of Ben Kennedy. Started 18th. He's been just on the outside of the top 10. That's pretty much where he's been stuck for about the last 80 to 90 laps. They've been working on trying to get this truck to rotate better through the center of the corner. They're better than they were, but need one more adjustment maybe to give him an opportunity to crack that top 10 and maybe sneak up to the top 5. They've been battling hard, but trying to overcome starting 18th.
Well, as you said, Hermie, just outside the top 10 right now at 11th, and only one other chaser is behind them. That's William Byron, so you always got to keep an eye on the point situation if you're Ben Kennedy or any other chaser for that matter.
These points are going to drive these guys nuts. I mean, if they leave here with a finish of 14th and go to Texas and Phoenix and try to figure out if they can't win, how many points they got to get, we're going to see some real intense racing as we wind it down.
That's one of the great things about the chase, isn't it? It just kind of continues to twist it a little bit more each week and ramp up the pressure these guys have to deal with.
I don't know how many weeks these guys can go without sleep, though. You know what I mean?
You know, and interestingly enough, in the first race of the next round, there's no agendas. Everybody's just racing to win. They don't have a teammate that needs a little bit of help like we saw at Talladega. You don't consider giving up a spot. You got to get all you can get. And then you get to victory lane, maybe your agenda changes a little bit. But right now, you're seeing all these guys have.
Christopher Bell and that JBL Tundra continuing to hound the bumper of Matt Crafton for 5th.
Remember, just a few laps ago, Matt was able to get by Christopher Bell to take over that 5th spot, but has not been able to shake Christopher.
This is another track that Bell felt like wasn't maybe his best kind of track. He spent a lot of time watching videos of races here, in-car video, working on iRacing to get a handle on it.
But his crew chief is so good here, though, Vince.
Yep, but he's been good as a driver as you see him dive underneath Crafton and get that spot away from Matt Crafton.
Matt's going to lose another spot to Cameron Haley. Something's wrong with Matt Crafton, maybe brake issue.
He talked about that earlier, said his pedal was not solid.
Stay low. I know you don't have your brakes. Stay low.
Caution is out, the 44 of Tommy Joe Martins over in turn 2.
Or was that? Look at that. Look at that.
We saw that. Saw an issue at Loudon with Daniel Hemrick, a left rear brake fire that took him out of the playoffs.
Remember, Matt talked about his brake pedal being soft, and if he didn't pump them up when he hit the brakes hard, he would have only rear brakes, which makes it really challenging to drive because it makes those trucks so loose because it slides the rear tires getting in the corner. So maybe having used predominantly rear brakes, that he overheated them, and obviously overheated them. They're on fire.
Timely caution for Junior Joyner and that whole 88 team. They can come up with a plan to try to address the issue and lose as little time as possible. Tommy Joe Martins was running 25th when he spun around.
But still, that doesn't bode well for you for the rest of the day.
You don't want to be on fire no matter what sport you're in, Vince.
I'll agree with that. I'll argue with you on some things, but not that.
I felt something pop, and I did it like under that yellow too when I said something. But I'm waiting for them to come back. I don't think so. They're pretty sure they're done.
Third pit stop for our leaders.
Chase Elliott leading a long line down pit road. Let's check in with Hermie.
A lot of discussion whether or not to come down pit road, whether to get 2 or 4. There will be 4 tires for the 00. He brings everybody else with him down pit road behind he and Chase Elliott. 4 tires and fuel for the 00. Also the 21 of Johnny Sauter. 4 tires and fuel. He told Joe Shear the last adjustment was the best one they've made today. Caitlin.
Well, Matt Crafton was telling his team that the left rear was on fire. He said, I felt it go, it popped, and it did not come back. So crew chief Junior Joyner sounding pretty frustrated, saying we're probably going to have to go a lap down here, bringing the 88 down, changing tires, taking a look at everything right now for Matt Crafton. But this is not what he needs. One of the chasers hopeful for a championship. Rough start to this first round for Matt Crafton.
Well, some teams gambling on some tire strategy here. John Hunter Nemechek taking 2 and Cameron Haley taking 2 tires, so they gain big spots on pit road. Less than 50 to go. It's going to be fun to the finish at Martinsville. Daniel Hemrick on the outside, on the inside, Kaz Gralla on the outside. They stayed out during that round of pit stops. Hemrick inherits the lead on this restart.
Cameron Haley wedges between Kaz Gralla and another truck, and now he tries to switch to the bottom.
Look at the 4 on the outside of the 00. Christopher Bell on the outside of Cole Custer for about 6th.
Not much room to maneuver when you're too wide back there in the pack.
Now teammates Suarez and Bell side by side. Suarez in the 51.
Harrison Burton jumped in there too in that 18. Hemrick in the lead, stayed out, so he's got still the same tires that he had on before. The 8 of John Hunter Nemechek came in, got 2 tires. He's in second. Chase Elliott in third. He got 4.
And right behind him is Johnny Sauter. We heard Johnny tell his crew that adjustment they made was the best he had. And now if he got another one just like that, see if he can do anything with Chase Elliott if they're able to dispose of these 2 ahead of them.
John Hunter being able to make the pass on Hemrick. Here comes Chase Elliott. Remember, John Hunter Nemechek's finished second the last 2 times they've run here, Vince.
And he finds himself in the lead, seeing if he can hold off a really steamy 71 truck of Chase Elliott.
Nemechek in front, Chase Elliott in second. Our first chaser in the mix is Johnny Sauter right there in that green 21 machine. He's in third.
Keep an eye on this 00. Cole Custer, he wedged himself inside of Cameron Haley in the 13 truck for the 5th spot.
We got 1 chaser in the top 7. That's Sauter, the only one.
Watch this restart. This is the restart.
Flag stacking a little bit, all good.
Watch Kaz Gralla up on the front row, slides up the racetrack, old tires, and they just drive right by him.
Drive right through him.
Right through him and by him.
There wasn't room there, it didn't appear, but that doesn't matter when the laps start winding down here at Martinsville.
See Cole Custer right now, the 00, 4 tires. Daniel Hemrick with no tires. Cole cannot afford to waste any time trying to get by the 19. He's going to get to the inside of him. He's going to have him now.
Custer's going to get that spot going to 4th, and Suarez is right behind him. Christopher Bell, they're all stacking up and they're all going to get around, and Harrison Burton has gone around down in turn 1.
Fired up.
Looks like Austin Terrio will get the free pass. Matt Crafton needs that position, but Terrio was ahead of him. They're back in the 21st and 22nd position. Harrison Burton was running inside the top 10 when he went spinning around, and he's going to lose a lap.
Yeah, he had it refired, but then he just couldn't get over the curb. So now, as all the trucks go by, that puts him a lap down.
Well, and Matt Crafton had gone a lap down also when they were trying to repair that brake issue on the 88.
I don't think he's going to get the free pass. It looks like Austin Terrio in the 02 truck will get the free pass right now.
Back up here.
Yeah, and Terrio's just a couple of trucks ahead of Crafton.
See if we can see what happened. Is that Timothy Peters gets in the back of Harrison Burton and sends him around. I saw the mark on the rear bumper. His truck, last time we saw it, was clean. I felt like he probably had some help getting around there.
And you can see there's a gap between where Burton was running and the truck ahead of him. That means Timothy Peters saw the laps were running down. He saw that gap was there, needed that spot, got to the inside, and Burton tried to close the door. Timothy said, I can't give that spot up this late.
We'd heard that radio earlier from Peters' camp. They were out of patience to begin with.
Yeah, either get out of the way or I'm coming through one way or the other.
Only 36 laps to go. William Byron now has made a pretty good rebound from that stalling the truck on pit road right behind Timothy Peters.
Well, as we get ready for another restart, remember that inside lane has certainly been the dominant lane. So you'd have John Hunter Nemechek, Johnny Sauter, Daniel Hemrick, and Christopher Bell should line up on the inside for this restart.
Could be a big break for Johnny Sauter. He's going to have the truck that's the only truck that's been really better than him today. Chase Elliott's going to be up on the outside of John Hunter Nemechek. That's going to put Sauter on the inside. If he can get around him, maybe holds him off.
Well, we talked about Matt Crafton going a lap down, trying to address that brake issue. What's the story down there in that pit, Caitlin?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, he did have that fire in the left rear, issues for him. Here he kind of described what he was experiencing inside the truck to his crew chief, Junior Joyner.
Talk to me, dude. You got any pedal? Little bit. I just got a little bit. It don't stop very well, though. The best I got for you. You know, you got no left rear caliper, so obviously it's not going to stop as well as it did.
Now, they did pit again. They had the hood up. They were like, we need to move quickly here. We've got limited time. So they determined they blew the seals out of the left rear caliper. So they were topping it off with brake fluid to try and fix it. But certainly a tough break for Matt Crafton.
It is indeed. It's been a challenging day for the 88 team to begin with and for Crafton. To deal with some traffic early.
And you can see the truck starting to smoke. That's more than likely brake fluid coming out. And then the fire on the left rear. The team minimized the damage, only lost a lap. Really needed that free pass there. Now he's going to have to deal with Harrison Burton. He's going to be a lap down as well if he's going to be able to get the free pass.
But he's going to be a little bit crippled in the fact he doesn't have as much rear brake as he needs to get around this Martinsville Speedway.
Our chase standings at the top of the screen in regards to how they run right now.
How quickly did things change? Matt Crafton looked like he was solid, having a decent day. Now he's the only guy that's really looking like they're in deep trouble.
He was racing around the top 5, so it was going to be a solid day for him. Maybe not a winning day, but a solid day. And right now he's just trying to salvage something. If he can get the free pass and maybe gain a few more spots before the end of the race, that will certainly help. And you never know. We showed at the very top of the show how inside of 10 laps to go, we saw 5 truck crash in this race last year inside of 10 laps to go.
So there's going to be 1 to go this time around.
John Hunter takes the inside as we thought he would. Chase Elliott, if you're going to make up any time on the outside, you have to do it right after a restart. So it would not shock me. Remember, only 2 tires for John Hunter Nemechek, 4 for Chase Elliott. It would not shock me to see Chase Elliott battle him for that lead here on the outside.
And you know what? It won't shock me to see Chase Elliott really, John Hunter Nemechek really diamond in the corners. Don't stay down against that curve. It's getting late. You're going to have to make a few enemies maybe to get to victory lane. I look for John Hunter to move Chase Elliott up the hill. We'll see if that takes place.
Would that open the bottom for Johnny Sauter maybe?
Nemechek on the inside, Chase Elliott on the outside. Restart and green at Martinsville. Nemechek to the point. Sauter trying to get a position on Chase Elliott. Not going to be easy. Boy, they're beating and banging Timothy Peters and Cameron Haley.
Yeah, Cameron Haley would just turn left in the middle straightaway, and Timothy Peters said, I'm not having any of that.
3 wide ahead of them. Christopher Bell to the bottom on Daniel Hemrick. They squeeze into turn 1 somehow.
Great side-by-side battle for second between Sauter and the 21, Elliott and the 71.
Good move through the center of the corner by Chase Elliott, but Sauter's going to prevail on the outside, or inside, excuse me.
Johnny Sauter's been so happy with his truck this weekend. Does he have enough now to get to John Hunter Nemechek for the win? The final 30 laps.
I think they're going to have to survive a couple of more restarts before this thing's over. Timothy Peters is certainly living up to what he said. You're going to have to get out of my way or I'm coming through one way or the other. He's going for it today.
William Byron back inside the top 10. Hermie?
Truck's been too tight, Vince. Last time down pit road, they put only 2 right side tires on, made an air pressure adjustment, trying to get some track position to finish off strong.
Well, Matt Crafton would love to see a caution right now. He's the first one a lap down, so he'd get the free pass and get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, and he's got a nice cushion between he and Harrison Burton, who's the next truck with lap down. And Phil, he's able to keep pace now. He's running right in the pack, so the team did a nice job of repairing that bright yellow 88 truck on the right. He's hanging in there.
And I'll be shocked with 27 laps to go if we don't get another caution flag.
Me and you both, I'll be stunned.
Austin Hill in the 20, Kaz Gralla the 24, and then in that Dayglow 13 is Cameron Haley. Watch us in contact here between the 13 and the 17 during this restart.
Cameron Haley says, I'm coming over, and Timothy Peters emphatically says, no, you're not.
How about battle for the lead here? Johnny Sauter on the inside.
Sauter makes it stick, takes the lead from Nemechek.
Oh, and we got a spinner in turn 2.
A little bit of contact from John
it's a
West
chaser.
Townley coming in. So the 33 of Ben Kennedy spins. I don't think he was going to have any damage until Townley just couldn't get stopped in time and got into him.
And I think probably Ben Kennedy's probably going to be okay with that minimal damage there, but Matt Crafton will get our free pass. A lot of damage to the Zaxby Chevy for John West Townley.
They're going to have to come in and pull that right rear fender out on the Jacob Company's Chevy. Phil, I don't think he can finish this race. You can see the tires rubbing. I think they'll have to make that move.
Yeah, and they might as well now because he's all the way back to the tail of the lead lap.
And how quickly have things changed? Matt Crafton was the guy on the outside looking in, a lap down. Ben Kennedy top 10. Now Crafton back on the lead lap, and Kennedy is going to have to come to pit road for repairs.
Well, here's how it happened. The 33 goes around, maybe a little help from the 41 of Ben Rhodes.
Overheard a spotter saying it was the 41 that got us.
And then you see that John West Townley just couldn't get stopped in time.
Just about got stopped, but a lot of damage, though, to his Chevy.
Ah, you see that there, just hits him in the back.
Just gets in the center of the corner, just gets in the throttle beforehand.
Clear.
So it's pretty significant damage to the front end of Townley's truck and to the 11 of Matt Tift as well. It is full contact here on the half-mile paperclip in Martinsville.
We promised it, and they're delivering it.
I didn't know how we could make it 27 laps without a caution. Probably not done with cautions yet.
I would guess not. Due to what we talked about earlier, you give and take early. Now it's just all take. Everybody's trying to take from each other.
Hermie?
Yeah, the 33 of Ben Kennedy hits his pit stall. Right side tires are on. Spending some time looking at the right rear area. They want to make sure to get the tire, get some clearance there, get the fender off the tire so that he does not have an issue when they go back green. They'll come back, put left side tires on. All the damage is on the right rear, right around the rear tire. So they do not want to lose a lap, so they're trying to get down and away. Looks like he'll make it just ahead of the pace car, Vince.
It's going to be fine to stay on the lead lap. You see Ben over on the right of your screen. He's got a shorter distance to go, so as they go around turns 1 and 2, he will get off pit road on the lead lap.
Needs to be careful not to speed, though, doing it.
Looks like repairs to the Zaxby's truck as well, and he's going to be out.
John West stays on the lead lap also.
5 cautions today for just over 30 laps.
Well, we talked about Timothy Peters at the halfway point of this race. He was in 18th position. He's gained all the way up to 7th. That's an amazing recovery. Now, late in the going, Matt Crafton was in 21st, a lap down, finds himself back on the lead lap. How much progress can he make over the next 20 laps?
William Byron was 15th after his pit stop. Right now in the 8th position.
Where did Matt Tift get all that front end damage? Let's see if we can provide an answer. Right there in the middle of 1 and 2, behind the 0-5 of John West Townley.
See, very right side of your screen, the 33 truck just spun here. So I think everyone's going to seize up when they see the caution. You see Matt slow down. Then Cole Witt slows down. And Matt Tift gets in the back of the 92 of Cole Witt.
Just an accordion effect. Everybody checking up when they see the spinner.
But they pounded that hood down and
the quarter panel out for Ben Kennedy.
Isn't that Martinsville?
Well, and based on the averages, we're going to have 3 more cautions before we're all said and done. So might have a lot of restarts and a lot more damage. Hermie, what's happening with that 33? Do they get it fixed?
We mentioned experience and youth. Ben Kennedy still needs to race into this race. His crew chief is reminding him of that.
All right, BK, still plenty to race for here. Every point matters. We got 20 laps to go coming up here. Every point counts.
Trying to calm their driver down to salvage something out of this day.
Well, and you got to keep an eye on the big picture. I mean, this is just chase race number 1 of round 2. And we've got 2 more races to go here in this round. So keep your head and got to go points racing at this point, and maybe a couple of more yellows. No telling how this thing could shake out. Sauter on the inside, Nemechek on the outside. Under 20 left at Martinsville.
See if Chase Elliott can get underneath that 8 truck to take over that second spot and chase down the 21 of Sauter.
Good start by Chase Elliott. He is indeed inside of the 8. Oh, look at the contact there. Christopher Bell trying to power his way inside of Nemechek.
Nemechek wasn't having it.
And look who's up to 5th.
Timothy Peters.
Is that your short track veteran really putting it down when it counts?
Racing right now with one of the very best trucks we've had all day long, and Cole Custer in the 00, and the inside line will prevail.
Wow, Peters gets it, and he is now into 5th.
Watch Cole Custer's all over the tailgate of Timothy Peters.
Tyler Reddick getting put on the train on the outside.
How about Austin Hill, that 20 truck with a great run today, racing up in the top 10 as he's racing with Tyler Reddick.
He's done, you're right, Phil. It's just been great all day long. And there's William Byron. He's back to the top 10. Look at this dive to the inside by Reddick.
Wow. Camping World 15 to go at Martinsville as Reddick slips up and Haley just slides right by.
There's William Byron trying to get underneath Daniel Hemrick.
Every point matters. You can see it too. These guys know 1 point. If they tie going to after they leave Phoenix, that could be the difference between being in the championship battle and not.
Did we not see that 1 week ago with Denny Hamlin?
Johnny Sauter in the 21, your race leader. He's won here at Martinsville twice before. Can he hold off Chase Elliott?
They're going to be the longest 14 laps of the year for him. He's got the lead. He knows how good Chase has been all day. He can't bobble. He can't make a mistake. And when you try to give it all you got here at Martinsville, that's when mistakes happen. Look at Byron. He's now rallying.
Getting by Daniel Hemrick for 8th.
Well, I like having Johnny Sauter in my truck with the lead with just outside of 10 laps to go. A 2-time winner here.
And plus, that thing isn't bobbling off the corner either, Phil. Look at Matt Crafton. Ben Kennedy tried to close the door. Crafton said, I got to have it. Matt Crafton a little bit crippled on entry. You can see Ben dive in harder than him because Matt doesn't have 4 brakes. He's only got 3.
Matt's going to have to do it off the corner.
It's Harrison Burton in the 0-2.
Burton's a lap down.
Of Austin Terrio kind of banging doors.
Yeah, Terrio is on the lead lap right now.
And Matt Crafton's hoping these two sort it out in a hurry so he can continue his progress toward the front.
For 6th, Custer getting around Suarez. Suarez crossing over.
Great move by Daniel Suarez. We'll see if it works. It'd be nice to open up that bottom for his teammate, William Byron, if he could get by the 00 of Custer. Another spot and another point.
Byron drove it in there, but Custer slams the door.
Yeah, nice job by Cole Custer to hold that position. William Byron needs it. Byron's using that bumper a bit here late in the going. Will he lay it to Custer?
On board with Custer. It's Byron right behind him. Johnny Sauter continues to lead.
I keep watching for Sauter to slip a tire on exit, Vince, and give Chase Elliott a chance to get in there, but Johnny's just been solid lap after lap.
7 laps to go. Sauter, the veteran, 2-time winner here. Remember, Chase Elliott said he wanted to run this race just to get more laps, more experience for the Cup race on Sunday, and he's been so good. Fastest in all 3 qualifying rounds. He's led a lot of laps here in this race. In fact, the most laps Chase Elliott has led in this race today. But right now, he's got to chase the veteran Sauter, who's been in love with his truck all weekend long.
Yeah, Chase wanted to run this race for experience, but that doesn't mean he doesn't want to win this race too.
And you can see how smart Chase is. Watch him. He's just nipping up to the center of the track a little bit in the center of the corner. You can see him running a bit higher than Sauter so he can try to duck it to the bottom on exit and get a good run. He's not only challenging for the win, but he's learning a lot of things that will help him tomorrow.
See if lap traffic ends up playing a role here in these final laps.
That's the key to Sauter's success. You saw him just rocket off the corner, straight and steady, and drive away from Chase Elliott on exit.
Less than 4 to go.
Boy, Chase is right there. What a great corner by Chase.
Now Johnny's got to go into defense mode. He's got to block.
That curb is his friend. You want to stay right next to the curb. Don't get into the curb, though.
3 to go at Martinsville. Sauter trying to hold off Chase Elliott. Johnny Sauter in the chase. If he wins this race, he automatically clinches a spot in the championship race at Homestead.
And what a great turn 2 exit Sauter had. Can he put together a few more of those?
2 laps to go for Johnny Sauter.
Remember, Chase Elliott won a truck race up in Canada, made contact in the last corner with Ty Dillon to win that race.
Just booted him out of the way to take the checker. What will he do here at Martinsville?
He has about 3 corners left.
A little bit of a gap, but Chase closes right up. Coming to the white flag for Johnny Sauter. A half mile to go.
Chase has 2 decisions to make. Do I hit him in 1 or not? And do I hit him in 3 or not?
Great 1 and 2 for Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, great turn by Sauter. Might be enough, Phil.
Through 3 and 4. Johnny Sauter's going to do it. Punching the ticket to Homestead. He'll race for the championship. Sauter wins at Martinsville.
Yeah! Johnny, you're awesome. Guys, everybody, great job. Great job, guys.
His 12th career win, and I don't know that any of them will be as significant as this one because it means he'll run for the championship in a few weeks at Homestead.
He won at Daytona to get himself in the playoffs, and now he's won at Martinsville to get him into the championship round.
Winner for the 3rd time at Martinsville. Well, you know that crew chief's got to be happy, Hermie.
Joe Shear, what an effort by your team from the time you unloaded all weekend long. Solid effort on pit road, on the racetrack. It came down to a couple restarts at the end. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I can't thank GMS for all the hard work and all the guys that work there for all the hard work. We've been working. Even before the chase started, we've been working hard to get to this point. We knew we could get here, and we worked really hard to get here. And me and Johnny coming back to Martinsville, it's like a dream come true. And it wasn't that easy. We had to work for this one, but we had a pretty good truck.
And you're going to Homestead to race for a championship.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Now we're in, we're primed up. Now it's all about working for Homestead.
Joe Shear, he's going to victory lane.
In the spring here at Martinsville, Johnny Sauter finished last. Today, he finishes first. Isn't that a great sport, huh?
And what a big first that was.
Puts his name in the Final 4. Still got a couple of races left to go here in the round of 6. Texas next week and then Phoenix. But Sauter already knows he's going to race for the championship in Homestead on November 18th.
And he can breathe for the next 2 weeks, too.
And with the attitude he came here with, I think he's poised to be our champion. He's going to be our favorite, I think, to be the champion because he just knew what kind of team he has around him and what kind of truck he was going to have here today.
He went to Homestead one time with a chance at the championship, set on the pole, led most of all the laps, and won the race. So he's good at Homestead, too.
Our pole winner, Chase Elliott, led the most laps, finished 2nd today. Caitlin?
Yeah, Vince, he was the runner-up today. Very close battle there at the end with you and Johnny Sauter. Did you feel like you had anything for the 21?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Looking back, obviously, I wish I had done a little something different. I got loose off 2 coming back to the checker, and that was probably my opportunity to try to get him. But hey, I mean, you got to be careful. Those guys are racing for a championship, and for me, some days it's just not worth making a mistake and wrecking the guy or whatever. So obviously wish we could have got him, but I appreciate everybody's hard work. I feel like I learned a lot today, and at the end of the day, that's the most important thing for tomorrow.
Thank you. Now Chase Elliott will focus on the Cup race for tomorrow. Vince?
Great run for Chase, but this day belonged to the 21. Johnny Sauter wins at Martinsville. Three chasers in the top 5 today in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series from Martinsville Speedway. And, well, victory lane, it is reserved for that 21 truck of Johnny Sauter. He told us all weekend long that it was going to be good, and it was. And you see some people upset with Ben Kennedy having conversation down in the garage area. Frustrated with Ben Rhodes.
We talked about it. There were going to be some Hurt feelings after the race, always is here.
We talked about in the open, fighting for space, and then maybe some fighting in the garage afterwards. And Kennedy, it is tight quarters racing, and there's no question Rhodes got into the back end of him. Whether or not that's just part of it at Martinsville, or whether Ben's got a real beef there.
From what I saw, Ben Kennedy should be upset. He didn't cut Ben Rhodes off. They were in the center of the corner, and Ben Rhodes just hit him right in the back. When you get hit right in the back and spun around, that's excessive, no matter where you're at. But again, Vince, like you said, it's Martinsville. There's going to be contact. Ben just felt like it was enough contact that he needed to explain to Rhodes what he thought about it.
Let's hear from him. Caitlin?
Yeah, Vince, Ben with me now, just exchanging some words with Ben Rhodes. Can you tell me what happened from your perspective and what that conversation entailed?
He just wrecked us, plain and simple. He'd given us a headache all day. He tried to wreck us earlier. He failed at it, and he wrecked us over in turn 2. So it's really unfortunate. We're racing here for a chase, and he wants to race him that way. I'm going to race him back that way.
Thank you, Ben.
You could see there he was just right square behind him and hit him in the back, and that's a decision Ben Rhodes decided to make. He said, I feel like Ben Kennedy cut me off a bit, so I'm going to pop him, and it spun him out.
Well, the different ranges of emotion, from the frustration and the anger to the joy of victory lane.
Johnny Sauter climbs out in victory lane at Martinsville for the 3rd time of his career. Cold, but enjoyable. Johnny, you've got now three of these grandfather clocks, but I can't imagine any of them are more important than this one. You are going to Homestead and race for a championship.
That's the ultimate goal. I can't thank everybody at GMS Racing, GMS Fabrication. This is a GMS truck. Smoky Mountain Herbal Snuff, Chevrolet, ECR horsepower. All these guys, I had brake trouble early in the race, and I feel like it's one of the smartest races I ever ran. People don't accuse me of being very smart a lot of times, but just try to take care of it, just kept riding in third and just trying to save them. And then I knew with 40 to go, I could do what I needed to. But so proud of Joe and all these guys. The Ganassi pit crew was flawless, and thank Allegiant Travel and the Gallagher family for giving me this opportunity. This is special.
You spent most of the race today, as you mentioned, racing with the 00 and the 71. You were confident pretty much all day when it came down to it you could get the job done?
Well, I knew I had a little left in the tank, if that's what you're asking. So, when I had a little bit of brake trouble there when I was leading, I thought, well, I'll just put a bunch of rear brake in it and hope for the best, and just hung on. And cautions couldn't have fell any more perfect today. We kept our track position, what was most important. But just a total team effort, and so proud. I thank the Blessed Mother and Sacred Heart.
The last few laps, the 71 of Chase Elliott was on your bumper. What were you expecting from him, and did you get the kind of racing you expected from Chase Elliott?
Yeah, me and Chase had a late model race down in Georgia a few years ago where it didn't quite turn out as good as I had hoped. So I was hoping that it wouldn't be a repeat of that. But, he was here. I think he kind of knew the picture, and it was an awesome day for Chevrolet. We dominated the race, I think, from start to finish. So, but Chase did a great job. I think he was here just to get some practice for tomorrow. So it's cool when you can beat, organizations like that and beat drivers like that. So I'm just proud and very humble to be here.
That's Johnny Sauter. Caitlin?
Well, Hermie, Timothy Peters comes home 5th here at Martinsville. Kind of an up-and-down weekend overall. Certainly a hard-fought top 5 for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. It tells us, it shows how tough the Red Horse Racing team is. Just thank everybody back at the shop and here at the track. Shane Huffman, the pit crew, for the effort that they put in this weekend on our Tundra. We were off in practice and even qualifying and to start the race. And it seemed like the last 50 laps, really, pit crew getting me off pit road and good track position, and we kept hitting the restarts just right on the inside lane. So just a great team effort. Thanks everybody involved with Toyota, Liquid Performance, Autos by Nelson, Notch Gear, Wiley X, Russo's Tinning, Honda Generators. Just a great day.
Thank you. Timothy Peters earns his 7th top 5 so far this season. Vince?
Boy, he had to fight and claw for that one too, didn't he?
Well, over half the race he was outside the top 10. He was only in the top 10 for 81 laps the entire race, and only 17 in the top 5. It's an amazing job by Timothy Peters and Shane Huffman and his guys to get that top 5.
And that whole team, Shane Huffman, they got to hug Timothy Peters and say, you are the man. You drive like that over the next 3 weeks, we will be champion, because it was all heart.
How about Christopher Bell, another top 5 finish? Bell has now strung together 6 straight 6th place or better. But the day belonged to Johnny Sauter. He's the winner at Martinsville. Tonight, it's World Series Game 4. John Lackey and Corey Kluber stepping into the October spotlight, carrying the hopes of their team, their cities on their shoulders. History happens now. Game 4 of the World Series. Coverage begins 7 o'clock Eastern tonight on Fox.
Would you say it's a must-win for the Cubs?
I would say it's a must-win for the Cubs.
What about that clutch hit by Coco Crisp last night?
Yeah. Don't want to fall behind 3-1.
No. Going to have to go back to Cleveland. You know, so many people have been on that Cubs bandwagon. You can't forget about all those people that, you know, want Cleveland to win.
Been a while for them too, huh?
Yep. All those people from Cleveland want that.
Let's check in downstairs with Caitlin.
Well, Christopher Bell earns a top 5 performance here at Martinsville Speedway. Good, clean race. Chris, how would you classify your day?
Well, it was a lot better than Martinsville in April, that's for sure. So really proud of my team here. They brought an awesome Tundra to this thing, and I'm just glad that I was able to do my job and come away with here the top 5. That was really big points day for us. So I was ashamed I didn't get John Hunter there at the end, but to come home 4th at Martinsville, which we knew was going to be our weak link in the chase. So really proud of all my guys, and just got to give a big thank you to Jerry, man. He brought a really good JBL Tundra today, and glad to escape here to the top 5.
Thank you. Christopher Bell leaves Martinsville with a top 5, his 9th so far this season.
Yeah, so solid. You remember he was 19th here in April, really struggled, certainly didn't leave here with much confidence for how things would go maybe the next time around, but he prepared and he did indeed run a strong race here today for that top 5 finish.
What feels better if you're Johnny Sauter right now? Putting your name into the final round of our chase in Miami to go for the championship, looking over your shoulder, seeing this giant, beautiful grandfather clock, a checkered flag. Life is good.
It really is. But he has it all, too. He doesn't have to pick one of those.
He won the first race of the season, so then he knew automatically just one race in, he's going to be in the chase, and then now he knows he's going to be in the final race for the championship.
It's a great story, and I love what he said in Victoryland. I feel blessed and humbled to be here. That's what it's all about, loving what you do.
Tough day for Matt Crafton. He's with Caitlin.
Well, Matt Crafton ended up 17th today at Martinsville Speedway. I know it's a tough race for you. What do you and your team need to do moving ahead to some tracks that you are good at?
Just have a little luck on our side at the end of the day, and we had a very fast Menard Toyota Tundra. First 15 laps it was good, and then about 15 laps into it we would start losing the pedal every time, and then we would have a yellow and I could get the pedal back, and then it'd be back really good. Then we'd run about 15 laps, and then it'd start going away, and I could start running the leaders down at that point, and then it would just go away again, and then I just had to try to manage what I had, and all of a sudden I felt something pop, and the pedal went to the floor. And to do what we did right there at the end, to have 3 brake calipers and be able to pass a few trucks to salvage a few points, I guess we had the best day we could.
Thank you, Matt.
And you never know, those few points could come into play after we go racing here at Texas and Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, and don't count him out for a win at one of these next 2 races also. Matt Crafton can win on those racetracks fairly easily.
Denny Hamlin made it through the next round by 0.06 of a second, was the tiebreaker.
Wow. Johnny Sauter, the winner at Martinsville. Back in a moment. What a great day for Chevrolet here at Martinsville today, finishing 1, 2, 3 with Johnny Sauter, the winner. Of course, a lot more racing here at Martinsville tomorrow. Begins with NASCAR Race Day here on FS1 tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. Sprint Cup Series race on NBCSN tomorrow at 1, and then NASCAR Victory Lane 12:30 a.m. Sunday on FS1. The next week, we're going to Texas Motor Speedway. See our friend Eddie Gossage. Begins with a very busy Friday. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, 3:30. And then racing till next Friday night. It's going to be fun.
Yes, it is. 500 laps here tomorrow for the Cup cars.
And what about our schedule? We had a big race at Talladega, and then the little one here at Martinsville. Let's just go in the middle next week in Texas. A little fast, sort us out on 1.5 miles.
For Phil Parsons, Mike Waltrip, I'm Vince Welch. Thanks for joining us from Martinsville. College football is next.